Hi, I'm Steven Hann from Archery Supplies. I'm here to do a review on the Martin Jaguar Recurve. The Martin Jaguar Recurve comes in two colours, camo and black. It's like a carbon black which Martin uses. It's not a straight black obviously, it looks nice. They're both film dipped risers. Now these risers were used by Martin on their compound bows. So what you're seeing here is they've added some limbs to make a recurve bow. Now this is one of my most popular recurves. Well, it is my most popular recurve. I sell about 2 of them a day. And now why is this bow popular? Because of price. It's very popular with people because of the price point. It gets people into the sport, recreational shooting in the backyard, hunting. You can fit sights to it there. You can fit a 2-piece quiver to it, you can fit a 1-piece quiver, you can fit any type of compound arrow rest you want because it's got the compound fittings. So basically it's good price point bow. Not a lot of competition in this price point besides the wooden recurves. PSE Cody is also its competitor. The Jaguar is a little bit cheaper. The main thing with a recurve is the limbs. Now this is the Martin Jaguar limb. It's the same limb which Martin used on the Sabre and the Panther. So basically it doesn't matter which bow you buy, a Jaguar, which is the cheapest of the Martins, the Sabre or the Panther, they all use the same limb. Now this limb I'm pretty sure is still made in Italy. Now they've had problems before with these limbs. I'm pretty sure PSE use the same limb, and a few other companies use this limb. Now this limb has been improved. So if you own an old limb and you had a problem, generally with a recurve, if the limb's going to break, it's going to break in the first month. So if you're still shooting a Jaguar and you've owned it for 2-3 years, you're probably fine, nothing's going to go wrong. But this is a cheap economy bow, so you don't expect $1,000 limbs on a $200 bow. Now in Australia this bow sells for about $280, $270 depending on the Australian dollar. In America it's probably around a $200 price point. Now with recurves, all the power comes from the limbs. So if you've got a higher quality limb here, you produce more energy. It's not like that on a compound. Compounds are, even a $400 compound is good compared to a $1,000 compound. It's not the case with a recurve. Now I just want to show you some better quality limbs so you understand the difference. And I'm going to start off with your top quality. This is a Win foam Olympic recurve limb. Now the finish on this limb, you'll see, is just the limb tips are smooth. The whole edge is like they've rounded the edges. Just beautiful finish. There's no wood in this. It's pure foam and carbon. A lot of reflex on the limb. Produces lots of energy and it's very stable, so not affected much by temperature. That's what you're paying, I don't know, rough sort of price, $700-800 for. So you don't expect that on the Martin at $200. Now this is a Hoyt limb on their $1,000 recurve. Now I'm hoping you can see that. The finish on the limb, the edges are sharp. Nothing like this limb. Now these limbs are about the same price. This is a wood limb. The finish, some people are going to say it's fantastic. I think the finish is fairly average for its price point. If this was a $200 limb, I'd say that's fine. But this is I think a $400-500 limb. And at that price point, I'd expect more. So with everything, when people compare products, it's all about price, where it sits in the market, what's the value for price point. And the Hoyt limb, the amount of reflex on it, so if I hold this straight up, you can see not a lot of reflex. Now I want to compare this to the Predator limb. This is what I consider one of the best limbs on the market. You can see how much curve it's got. Now what that does, it puts more tension on the string. More tension on the string means more speed. Now the other thing with this limb is they taper it down here, so less weight at the limb tip, which means less weight, less vibration when you're shooting. But you can see with this limb how much reflex compared to the Hoyt, and I don't even know how to compare those two, but you know, this is about a $400 limb and this is about a $500 limb. Now the finish on this, it's smooth all over, like the limb tips are nice, there's no blemish. This is their cheaper limb, by the way, it's not their more expensive limb. But this is about shape. Now Predator also produce a carbon foam limb. This is the wood one, and what Predator found was there was not a real lot of difference in speed between carbon and wood. And they do make carbon and foam limbs. They're about $50, $60, $100 more expensive depending on combination. But their analysis and their research found there wasn't a lot of difference. So about 99% of all Predator recurves are this, which is just a wood fiberglass limb. So that leads me back to the Jaguar. Now the Jaguar limbs are very basic. Now I sell about 2 a day of these bows. So in a year, yeah, okay, 700. Let's say I sell 500 a year. Last year I repaired one guy I did 3 sets of limbs for in Tasmania. He was a bit abnormal. He's happy now, like he's been shooting his bow for 6 months, hasn't broken another limb. But I suppose last year I probably did 6 sets of limbs out of 500. So for me, I'm happy with that because I've had warranty rates with recurves of up to a 50%. So I'm very happy with the quality of these limbs. But if you broke one, and when I say break, what happens, you get a twist, and that's in the wood. So basically the limb would come off the side. Now I'm not sure if it's related to the quality of the limb or the way people string the limb, and I'm going to talk about that. But my warranty rate with these are very, very low. But just bear that in mind. Now the difference in the Jag to the Sabre and the Panther, I'm going to just compare it to the Panther, is the riser. They're also 2 inches longer, the Panther, as you'll see. But basically what you're talking about here is a bridge riser. It's a more advanced riser compared to the Jaguar. But you're going to pay an extra $200 for the Panther, for a bow which looks better. Not necessarily going to perform better because you've got the same limbs. So people say, which bow shall I buy? Which one do you like the look of? Do you like the look of the Jaguar or do you like the look of the Panther? For me, I keep my bows forever, but I'm well aware this is, you know, $200 bow. I'm aware this is a $400 bow, and that might be $450 in Australia, but, you know, you get the concept. For me, all I do is archery. I don't go out to dinner. I don't go on holidays. I work and I do archery. That's my life. So I would probably shoot the Panther, but I know where this bow comes from. And the Jaguar outsells the Panther 10 to 1 easily. So Jaguar, we're going to string this bow, and I'm going to show you what not to do and why not to do it. But I've seen people shoot this with sights at 40 meters and shoot as good a grouping as compounds. That's not what I do. I'm nowhere near as good a shot with a recurve as I am a compound. These things, what I tell people is at 20 meters you should be able to hit, you know, paper plates without sights. With sights, you should definitely be able to hit paper plates. With a compound, paper plates at 50 meters. So recurves, a lot harder to shoot, more for instinctive traditional shooting. A lot of compound shooters shoot them because, you know, it's more of a challenge than the compound. So we're going to string one of these, have a shot, and I'll show you how to string it. I'll tell you what comes with the kit too. 2 limbs, bow. Comes in a little kit like so. It comes with a string, a bow stringer, which you should always use. Don't string the bow around your limbs and you'll hit around your legs. Even though your mate's done it, he's done it for 100 years. Because I'm saying 99% of bows I have come back are strung around your leg, and I know if you're strung around your leg. And how do I know? It's when this limb breaks, it breaks on a sideways direction. It breaks like that. It breaks from there down to there, and it's in the direction which it's been on your leg. So I've broken them around my legs, and I don't do it anymore. I did it when I was young. I don't do it anymore. So, and yes, many of you string them around your legs, and please don't. So that's what it comes with. We're going to string this bow and have a shot. Thanks. On to the bow stringer, like so. 2 feet, fairly wide apart. You want this as close as possible to the limb tip. The further down here you put it, the less leverage you have, so you want it as close as possible to that string. And all you do is you lift up, like so. You slide the string up, like so, and then you slowly let it back down. Now, why do you do this slowly? Because if this is not on properly at either end, it will spring off. And I'm listening, this feels alright. Now, when we check the limb tips, now you want to check to make sure this is on correctly. You don't want to do it from this side, because if it's not, it'll whack you in the eye and you'll lose an eye. You check it from this side here. And what you're checking is these 2 strings are on the 2 grooves, which they are in this case. Now we pull off the bottom one, and I check that, just there, and you'll see those 2 are on this set. When I first string a recurve, I always pull the bow back, because it tends to creak, things tend to settle in. Okay, that feels good. So we're now going to fit an arrow rest to this bow and have a shot. Now this bow comes with this little arrow rest here. It just screws on. So the first thing you do is put the bolt in, spin it up. That then goes onto the riser, like so. Then you put the other bolt on the other side, like so. Now with this arrow rest position, I'm hoping you can see that, the arrow rest should be in that position like that. Not up like that, which I've seen people do. And if it's down too far, the arrow will slide off. So if it's down too much an angle, it's basically 90 degrees, it keeps the arrow on the string. At this stage you can fit 2 knock-in points to the string, 90 degrees to the string, slightly high, stops the arrow thing, but we're just testing this, so I'm not going to, and we're going to have a shot now. With a recurve bow, the most important thing is the arrow. Ideally with a recurve bow and recurve hunting bow, I prefer feathers, because feathers straighten up quicker than vanes. And also, if the bow's not completely tuned, the feathers basically are fairly forgiving off this arrow rest, so when they hit the arrow rest, they won't deflect off. Where with a plastic vane, this is likely to hit this rest as it goes through and then cause it to kick up. Now ideally when you shoot fingers with the release aid, as you shoot, this arrow should move away from the recurve and then move in like this. It will do this sort of action in the air. When you shoot release aid, as in with the compound, the arrow shoots dead straight. So with a recurve, the spine, which is how much the arrow flexes, is extremely critical. So if the arrow is too stiff and won't flex enough, which is 90% of the problems, it's very rare to have an arrow which is too not stiff enough, too lighter spine. So if the arrow is too stiff, it comes through and it hits the riser, it'll hit the arrow rest here, and that's generally an indication that the arrow is too stiff. Now you can either go down to a lighter spined arrow, so a lighter arrow, or a heavier point. A heavier point will decrease the spine of the arrow, cause the arrow to flex more. So with hunters, a lot of hunters with recurve like heavier arrow points because it creates better penetration and it causes the arrow to flex more. But that's not what this is about. This is about the recurve. But if you're going to buy this recurve, these are questions you're going to ask me. So hopefully I've covered them. Now, with a recurve, with a compound I generally don't shoot with an arm guard. With a recurve I generally do because I'll normally whack myself. I normally shoot with a glove, but I'm only going to shoot a couple of shots. So basically I draw it back. Now you'll see where the arrow hit, where the string whacked my arm. Like, the bow is nice to shoot. It's not too noisy. It's a nice bow to shoot. At its price point, are you going to have fun with this bow? Absolutely. You can take this bow fishing. You can take this bow hunting. It's a nice little bow. It's nice to shoot. You're going to have fun with this bow. Camo black. I'm just going to have one more shot. The other thing is, if you're shooting sights, you generally have a lower anchor point, so you can shoot further distance. I tend to shoot instinctive with this style of bow, which means I kind of draw it back to the corner of my mouth, so I can get a better view down the shaft. Let's try a better anchor point and see if I can. I didn't whack my arm then. I fixed up my grip, and once again, like with the grip, if your knuckles are at 45 degrees, you probably won't hit your arm. Now, I didn't. I had my knuckle too far in, so I whacked it, but second time I didn't. So, and the reason why you whack it with a recurve is this string will come through, and I whacked it about here because the string's actually moving towards your arm. With a compound these days, they have so much pre-tension on the limbs because of the preload on the pre-tension limbs. The strings actually don't move that much, and they have stoppers now on the strings. So, Martin Jaguar, it's my biggest selling recurve for a reason, because of its price point. The quality is great. It's going to be a bit of fun, low price. If you've got all the money in the world and you're a lawyer, you probably don't want this bow. You can probably spend $1,000 on a Predator recurve and buy top of the line stuff. But hunting, recreational, they come from 30 pounds up to 55 pounds. Change of limbs. Now, the limbs are normally half the price of the bow, but they're more in this case. Limbs for this bow, I think, about $170 out of a price point of $280. So you're talking the rise is worth about $80. The limbs are the bulk of it. So Martin Jaguar, camo or black, check it out, and it also comes in a kit as well. Thank you. Bye.